My wife thought I was avoiding her after she lost her job. The truth was worse. It started about 5 months ago, right after she lost her job. Not just any job either. She'd been at that hospital for 11 years, worked her way from receptionist to department coordinator, knew every nurse by name, remembered which doctors took their coffee black, handled schedules nobody else could untangle. Then the hospital merged with some bigger system, brought in consultants, and suddenly her position was redundant. That was the word they used. Redundant. Like she hadn't missed birthdays, anniversaries, family dinners, and entire weekends keeping that place running. She came home with a cardboard box full of desk plants and badge reels and acted like she was fine. Honestly, I needed a break, she said, smiling too hard. But I know my wife. She's the type who can survive anything as long as nobody sees her struggling. The first month was rough. She applied everywhere. Clinics, schools, insurance offices, even some jobs she was wildly overqualified for. Every morning she got dressed like she had somewhere to be, sat at the kitchen table with her laptop, and sent out resumes until her eyes went red. Every afternoon she made dinner before I got home, cleaned things that were already clean, folded towels into perfect little stacks, then acted surprised when I noticed. At night, she'd lie next to me completely still. Like if she didn't move, I wouldn't hear her crying. I asked her to talk to me. She said, "There's nothing to talk about." I asked if she wanted help. She said, "I don't need you to babysit me." Then one Saturday, I came home early because my last delivery got canceled. She didn't hear my truck pull in. Through the kitchen window, I saw her sitting on the floor with one of her old hospital lanyards in her hand, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. The second I opened the door, she wiped her face and jumped up like she'd been caught stealing. "You're home early," she said. That's when I realized she wasn't refusing to fall apart. She was just waiting until I wasn't there. So I started giving her the house. That sounds stupid, but it worked. I'd finish work at 4:30, drive home, park 1 block over behind the old church, and sit in my truck for 20 minutes before walking in. At first, I told myself I was giving her privacy. Then I started noticing patterns. If I came in right away, she'd be cooking, smiling, pretending. If I waited, I'd find tissues in the trash, her laptop closed, one of my hoodies on the couch, and her face a little calmer. So I started waiting longer, 30 minutes, 45, sometimes a whole hour. I'd sit there in my work boots with the engine off, eating gas station pretzels for dinner, watching our porch light through somebody else's hedges like a creep. But when I finally came in, she'd actually breathe. She'd let me kiss her forehead. She'd sit beside me instead of across the room. It was the only thing that made her stop performing. Then I added little things, not obvious things. My wife notices obvious. I'd leave a fresh pack of her favorite tea in the cabinet and act confused when she found it. I'd accidentally forget my hoodie on the chair because I knew she wore it when she was having a bad day. I'd text her from the truck and say, "Running late, eat without me," even though I was close enough to see the kitchen light flicker. She'd reply, "No worries," and I'd watch her finally sit down instead of rushing to plate my food like she still needed to prove she was useful. The worst day was after she got rejected from a job she really wanted. She had made it to the final interview, bought a new blouse, practiced answers in the bathroom mirror. They chose someone younger with more recent software experience. She texted me, "Didn't get it, I'm fine." I parked across the street for almost 2 hours that night. When I walked in, her eyes were swollen, but her shoulders weren't up around her ears anymore. She had made grilled cheese, burned one side, and laughed when I ate it anyway. First real laugh in weeks. But the lie started costing more than gas money. One night, my boss called while I was sitting behind the church and asked if I could take one extra route because another driver's kid was sick. It would have been $180, and we needed it bad. The mortgage was already 2 weeks late. Her severance had run out. I stared at our house from half a block away, knowing she was probably inside breaking quietly, and I told him no. The next morning, she found the late notice tucked under a stack of mail I forgot to hide. "Are we in trouble?" she asked. I said, "No, I've got it." She looked at me like she wanted to believe me so badly it hurt. That night, I parked by the pharmacy and watched her through the kitchen window, opening cabinets, counting cans, checking the freezer, making sure we had enough food like she was solving a problem I refused to admit existed. I almost walked in right then. I should have. Instead, I sat there until the porch light went off because I thought the worst thing I could do was make her feel guilty for falling apart. I thought I was helping. Then last Thursday, I came home and my truck was already in the driveway. My actual truck, parked perfectly. My stomach dropped before I even got out. She was standing on the porch holding my spare keys. "We need to talk," she said. I tried to play dumb. "About what?" She lifted the keys. "About why your truck has been spending more time behind St. Mark's than in our driveway." I froze. She opened her phone and showed me a map. "You forgot we share location." I looked at the screen and saw months of little dots clustered around the church, the laundromat, the empty lot by the pharmacy, all the places I'd been hiding after work. "I can explain," I said. "Please do," she said. Her voice wasn't angry. That made it worse. I told her everything. Not smoothly. Not like some movie speech. I stumbled through it like an idiot. I told her I saw her crying with the lanyard. I told her I knew she hated breaking down in front of me. I told her I didn't want to force her to talk before she was ready, so I gave her time alone without making her ask for it. She didn't say anything for a long time. Then she pulled something from her pocket. It was a folded piece of paper, soft at the creases. My gas receipts. Dozens of them. "You've been eating dinner in your truck," she said. "Sometimes. You've been sitting there for hours after working all day." "Not hours every time." She looked at me. "Don't lie while confessing." Then she walked inside and came back with the late notice. My mouth went dry. "You told me we were fine." I didn't answer. "You turned down overtime, didn't you?" I looked away, and that was enough. Her face crumpled, but not from sadness, from guilt. "You let me think I was the only one drowning. I was trying to keep you from feeling worse." "No," she said, sharper than I'd ever heard her. "You were trying to be noble by yourself. Do you know how awful that feels? To realize my husband was starving himself on vending machine food, missing overtime, hiding bills, and I was inside folding towels like that fixed anything?" I said her name, but she shook her head. "You don't get to protect me by shutting me out. That's not love. That's just loneliness with good intentions." That broke me a little. I said, "You wouldn't let me take care of you." Her face changed. "So you just decided to disappear instead?" I shook my head. "No, I decided to stop making you be okay the second I walked in." She looked down at the receipts again. "I thought you were avoiding me." That landed like a punch. She wiped her cheek with the back of her hand. "I thought you were tired of coming home to a wife who had nothing good to say. I thought you were sitting somewhere because being around me felt heavy." I stepped closer, but she held up one hand, not to stop me, just to steady herself. And the whole time, you were waiting outside because you thought I needed room to fall apart. Yeah, I said, but I should have asked. She laughed once, sharp and sad. I would have said no, I know. She stared at me for a second, then pressed the receipts against my chest. You spent $312 at gas stations, worth every stale pretzel. That's when she started crying. Not the hidden kind, not the bathroom kind, the kind she couldn't organize fast enough to make pretty. I didn't want you to see me like that, she said. I know. I didn't want to become another thing you had to carry. You're not a thing I carry, I said. You're my wife. She covered her mouth, and I finally pulled her into me. For once, she didn't stiffen. She just folded. That was a week ago. Now I don't park by the church anymore. I come home, walk through the front door, and if she needs a minute, she says it. Sometimes I sit in the truck in our own driveway while she cries in the kitchen. Sometimes she opens the passenger door and climbs in beside me, still wearing my hoodie, and we just sit there until the porch light comes on. Yesterday, she got another rejection email. She forwarded it to me with one sentence. Driveway? So I grabbed 2 grilled cheese sandwiches, burned one side on purpose, and met her outside. Turns out she didn't need me to disappear. She just needed to know I'd still be there when she was done pretending.